Hello and welcome to this circle. Pull up a chair or a log and warm your hands by the fire and just open to this sense of gathering and introduce yourself if you feel like it, saying where you come from, and let's all enjoy this very particular feeling of gathering. It's worth, I think, us exploring this feeling. I can see someone from Australia has gathered, little New Zealand, Berlin, Wisconsin. And just notice how you feel yourself as you see this. Holland, the Netherlands, and Colorado. So notice this lovely feeling. And as we do this, I'm going to home in on this and talk about it, because I think it's a real key for us, those of us who are interested in the spiritual quest. Brazil, again, Morganton, GA, Portugal, Long Island, New York. That's lovely. So as everybody gathers, you notice the first thing that I notice when people come together in a circle is we're waiting for people to gather. It's touching into a very primal feeling, I think, of the gathering of the clan, the gathering of the tribe. And there's even a sense, perhaps, is that we're making sure that everybody's here. I can imagine way back in time, when you had lots of children and lots of members of your tribe and going off doing different things, and then the fire would be lit and you would gather. And you'd make sure everybody was there, because if they weren't all there, you might have to send off a search party. So this sense of gathering, I think, is a really primal one that we're tuning into in our new way of doing it here. But I think there's also a resonance, which is very much of this time, which is this shift that for shorthand, we can use the term, the movement from me to we. The way in which more and more many of us are opening to this sense of collective awareness, that it's not enough just to work on our own salvation, our own development, but actually we know we're all in it together, and we're working as one whole. It's a real change, I think, that has taken place over the last 20 years, and is brings a lot of hope with it. And so those are two reasons why it feels so good just to be sitting here, seeing people from Halifax and Canada, and Tim from Bristol, and I'm pixelating apparently. I do apologize if I'm pixelating. I'm not doing it on purpose. And Central New York and so on. So part of it is good, but there's another thing that's going on, I think, which is it's making us feel at home. There's something really warm about gathering together and making us feel at home. And this is such a rich idea. I thought, let's spend this evening talking a little bit about this idea of homecoming. Many people say when they've found their spiritual path, I feel as if I've come home. It's a remark we get a lot in the order when people find Druidry and start working with Druidry. But I'm sure it happens in every spiritual tradition. People have this sense of coming home. And at its most profound level, perhaps we can say that it's the soul's longing to be at one with deity, with divinity. That it's as if, in some deep way, we feel as if we have made a journey from the source out into the world of manifestation, taking a great long journey that, if we believe in reincarnation, is going across many lifetimes. And then part of our spiritual work is to return back to the source again, to come home. That's why the parable of the prodigal son is such a powerful one. The idea of somebody going out and coming back, the great return. It's also paralleled at the level of the body, perhaps, if we're to believe the psychoanalysts who talk about the the oceanic feeling. Freud thought that all that mystical idea of wanting to return to the source was just actually memories of the womb. He called it the oceanic feeling. In the blog post I've done to accompany this, I give you an interesting reference if you want to pursue that about what psychoanalytic thinking is around that. And not all psychoanalysts, thank heavens, have this reductionist view of the mystical yearning to return home. But every spiritual path, I think, needs to offer us a route home. And there are many routes home, of course. And here's just one I'd like to suggest to you this evening and that we can explore together, which is taking the route home that involves coming to feel at home in our bodies, our hearts, and our minds, with an understanding that if we can get to feel at home in our bodies and our hearts and our minds, the soul will take care of itself. The soul will be able to find its way home and to achieve that unity with divinity that it seeks. How do we go about this? Again, there are undoubtedly many ways, but I'd like to suggest through developing three qualities: acceptance, honesty, and discrimination. And so let's start with the body, this question of how can I feel at home in the body? Because to feel at home in our skin is so important. And here's a way I'm going to suggest, which is developing the quality of acceptance. And let's just try it. Let's just try it. So now, just for a few moments, if you'd like to try this, try closing your eyes and just accepting all the sensations in your head. We're just going to focus on the head. So just become aware of your scalp and just allow any feelings you're having in your scalp, any sensations in your forehead, your brow, in your temples, in your eyes and all the muscles around your eyes. Just allowing any sensation you're feeling, muscles around the eyes, and the back of your head now, your cheeks, your nose, your mouth and all the muscles around the mouth, your lips, your chin and your jaw. Just accepting all the sensations you're feeling. Just being open to your awareness of sensations coming to you. Now from your whole head, just the whole of your head. And then open your eyes. And now, I think, tell me what you found, but provided you can hear me okay, I think so somebody's saying they can hear me okay, so that's great. I'm sorry if I've broken into 1,000 colors, but that's the broadband here, I guess, or at your end, I don't know. Tell me how you experienced that. Send a little thumbs up or a heart or thumbs down if you didn't like it. Tell me you hated it. Because the interesting thing, I think, is that most people find that it's a sense of relaxation that comes and of well-being. Even though you noticed that I didn't ask you to relax. Somebody's saying the video's transmitting garbled. Are you hearing me okay? Sound is brilliant, says Kat. That's lovely. I look like a painting by Archimboldo. Haha, I'm sorry about that. Maybe it's an improvement on the real thing. So, okay, very peaceful, says Isalanda, very calming. So one is calmed by that. But you notice all you're doing is accepting. I'm not telling you to relax. All I'm suggesting is accepting. And if you, later on, we'll try the whole body, and you see how wonderful it makes you feel. And so what I'm saying is very simple, which is to feel at home in your body. Just accept the sensations. Just accept your body feelings, and it becomes a spiritual discipline in itself. And Beth had a different experience of it, but we can talk about that later. And with this process of acceptance, remember that acceptance, acknowledgement, awareness is not the same as approval or agreement. So for instance, if I have a headache, for instance, I find it helps me if I just accept the feelings, if I become aware of the feelings in my head and just accept them. This doesn't mean I approve of them, I like them, I agree with them. No, that's something different. I just accept them. So I think that's a step that we can take towards feeling at home in our body. And then if we move now to the heart, and we try to develop the quality of honesty in the heart, which requires being accepting, open to the feelings we're having, not compartmentalizing, not denying or repressing feelings, but just opening to all feelings and to being authentic and honest about what we feel. Which is different again to expressing it. It doesn't mean to say we have to express every feeling. Otherwise we'll become very boring, we'll drive people crazy. When you first start training in psychotherapy, you get into this and you start telling everybody how you feel all the time. No, that's not always appropriate. But you are allowing and accepting and being honest with yourself about difficult feelings. And this is where the role of psychotherapy comes into spiritual work, I think, which is that it's a difficult path to do that. Sounds easy, but in reality, it's very difficult and often a painful process to open the heart in this way. And spiritual disciplines can sometimes actually encourage repression. There are all sorts of examples we could think of where spiritual discipline encourages denial and repression. And this is the great contribution of the 20th, 21st century to the spiritual path, is bringing in psychological understanding and psychotherapeutic understanding. Matthew Finnemore has made a really interesting point, which will divert us if I go, but I'll go back to it, Matthew. You know, in these conversations, what I do is I read back through them and make comments. I'll explore that in a while after the session. There's a really interesting point, how it's resignation distinct from acceptance. So okay, so we've got to the level of the heart, and we're working with trying to be as honest as possible, taking the painful route of not denying, not repressing, opening to the heart. And how then do we get a sense of feeling at home in our minds? Because with our bodies, feeling at home in our bodies by accepting our sensations, feeling at home in the heart, accepting our feelings, and being honest with our feelings, is going to make a huge difference to our lives. And then it's a question of being coming home to our mind. Well, how do we do that? Again, we bring in the quality of acceptance, accepting the thoughts that are going through our heads, being honest with our thoughts. And the third quality that I mentioned, discrimination. And I think we can use discrimination in two ways. Discriminating by becoming aware of what we ingest, what we take in, feeding ourselves on good thoughts, stimulating thoughts and beauty, and being discriminating within our thoughts. so that we gradually become more discerning. And here, expressing ourselves in conversation, in writing, can be a huge help. One of the fascinating things I find about writing is how hard it is to express myself. So I will have a thought, I'll write it down, and in writing it down, it doesn't quite come out the way I want it to. And then I have to apply this process of honesty, and I have to say, is that really what I think? Do I honestly believe that? How can I express this better? How can I discriminate in my thinking and be clear and precise and so on? And so we've got these three, and what I'd suggest is if we work with these three qualities of acceptance, honesty, and discrimination, we can really make huge strides in how at home we feel in the world. And when we feel at home in our bodies, hearts, and minds, it means we can feel more at home with other people, more at home in our world, and more at home, I believe, in our souls as well. Because there's this kind of clarity. I saw that somebody mentioned there, clarity and lightness, a feeling of lightness. It brings a kind of feeling of lightness. If you're clear in your mind and discriminating in your thought, there's a sense of lightness or clarity to your awareness. And if you're honest in your heart and not hiding or repressing or denying, there's a kind of lightness and clarity in your heart. And then again, if you're accepting of the sensations and feelings in your body, you are clearer in your sense of body. And interestingly, you're more grounded, you're more connected to the earth. You're not light in the sense of becoming a space cadet and going off into space. Actually, that happens when you're not clear in your thoughts, you're muddled, and so you float up. You're not clear in your heart, so you're evasive emotionally, or you're not at home in your body, so you either feel heavy or you feel misaligned or you feel disconnected and ungrounded. So, and now, let's come to a meditation. Let's have a meditation together, and let's explore this concept in an experiential way, in an embodied way. I've said elsewhere that Druidry is an embodied spirituality, which means it's a spirituality that doesn't deny the body, and it fully opens to and accepts the body and works through the body. And you might think that moving your consciousness into your body would kind of limit your awareness and bring you down into matter, if you like. But the interesting thing is it doesn't, in my experience, in many people's experience. And so in order to take this route back home, which is the root of the soul, which is the root of the mind and the heart, let's go through the body. So if you're up for this, try this meditation. And you don't have to do it now. You can just listen and watch if you like, and then watch a recording and try it later. But if you'd like to participate, just become aware of being in this big grove with people from all over the world, seated in this forest clearing, with a small fire burning in the center. And you close your eyes and become aware of the earth beneath you. It feels good to be seated on the earth. And you feel the strong, stable energy of the earth rising up into you. And you feel the presence of the trees around you. You feel their peace, their protection, their power. And you take in a deep breath, and you breathe in the essential oils that the trees are breathing out through their leaves. And this air flows into your lungs, bringing you a sense of vitality. You become aware of the sky above you, and you feel the energy of the sky flowing down into you, meeting the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And you move your awareness now to your body, and you become aware of the top of your head, your scalp, and you just start to accept all the feelings and sensations without judging them, just accepting them, allowing them in your awareness. Your scalp, your forehead and brow, your temples, your eyes and all the muscles around your eyes, your cheeks and nose. Your awareness moves to the back of your head, and then around to your mouth, all the muscles around your mouth, your lips, your chin, your jaw. And then your awareness flows down to your neck and throat, your shoulders, your chest and the upper part of your back, and then the middle part of your back, your heart and your lungs, the middle part of your arms, your upper arms, and then down to your forearms, your hands, fingers and thumbs, the palms of your hands, and then your stomach, the lower part of your back, and then your buttocks sitting on the chair, your thighs, your knees, your lower legs, your shin and calves, shins and calves, and then down to your ankles, the upper part of your feet, lower part of your feet, the soles of your feet. And now allow your awareness to extend just to the whole of your body. Just sense the whole of your body. Just allowing whatever feelings, whatever awareness is there. Just acknowledging any feelings and sensations. Just enjoy these feelings for a moment. And then become aware of your breathing. And sense yourself being in the sacred grove. Sense the trees around you, the earth above you, the earth below you, and the sky above you. Breathe in deeply, sensing the energy of the earth, meeting the energy of the sky within the center of your being. Sense your companions around you in the circle, in the sacred grove. And then slowly allow that awareness to fade as you become aware of being seated in front of your computer or laptop or mobile phone, seated at home, feeling at home in your body, at home in your heart, at home in your mind, at home in your soul. And then slowly open your eyes. And so now I can see that there's lovely little hearts flying across. So if it felt nice, press one of those blue or red buttons so you're kind of participating in this. And I hope you can see them too, because it's very sweet the way they do this on Facebook with them flying across. And I see there's some really interesting point. Rosemary Filol says, how do you get on if you're in pain? And that is a really interesting question as well, which some people can experience that to begin with, when they use awareness and acknowledgement with the body, physical pain, you say, yes, that when you use that awareness, that it makes you more aware of it. But then if you persevere, this isn't necessarily the case, but you may find that if you persevere, actually your experience of the pain starts to change. When I was working with somebody who had severe pain in her legs, she said that to begin with, using an exercise like this was very uncomfortable. But quite soon after trying to do it several times, she started to notice that she felt better and that the pain was starting to diminish. So it might be worth you trying that. See if you can try that, working with that. It may not be the case for you, but it's possible that some experience of pain comes from resisting it. The most common one perhaps we'll know is with a headache, when you have a headache, and how it can often be made worse by resisting it. And when you accept it, it changes. That's why a lot of the effect of aspirins and painkillers are actually a placebo effect. I don't know if you've noticed how when you swallow a painkiller, a paracetamol or an aspirin, almost immediately you feel better when you've only just literally put it in your mouth. And that's the placebo effect at work. And so just accepting the pain can help enormously. But I've promised myself that I won't go over 25 minutes, and I've already broken that promise. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to refill my mug with tea. I'm going to come back. I'm going to pop this up on YouTube and my blog. And then in the blog, I've talked about those ideas of working with honesty, discrimination, and awareness or acknowledgement in some detail. And I've given a link to a paper and so on. So I'll pop that up on my blog. And thank you so much for coming. And I think, I'd like to explore more this idea about coming home, because there's also the other side that we haven't even touched, which is the feeling of leaving home, which is equally valuable, the feeling of not being at home. It's important that we don't get caught in the trap of thinking, I've got to feel at home, and if I don't feel at home in a situation, this is bad. There's much more in here for us to unpack and explore. So maybe we can do that next week. Let's see. So lots of love to you, and I'll come in and look at all the comments and engage in dialogue with you in the comments section. So have a lovely week, and see you again next week.